Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening, ladies and germs. Yeah, I've always wanted to say that. Oh, see. Uh-oh. We've caused all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look what it did. It changed our colors on us. How bummer. All right, we'll go with oh wow, that's too purple. How about that for the night?
Okay.
There we go. Sorry, people. They've made some changes here, and yeah. Anyway, all right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Late Night Love, where we dive into the complexities of life, relationships, parenting, and work. Ooh, yay! From navigating grief and sibling supports to understanding the value of new cars, we tackle real-life dilemmas. We also explore relationship dynamics from making your partner feel appreciated to dealing with difficult parenting challenges such as handling toddler tantrums, yet again, and talking to kids about addiction are discussed. Finally, we address workplace issues, including managing employee relations and finding the work-life balance. So I don't include, if you hang around to the very, very end, we can sometimes talk about the spicier side of life,
Yes.
if we're up for that. And so tune in for the heartfelt advice and practical solutions here on Late Night Love. Ooh, I forgot to add that. Okay. So anyway. All right. So it is a new year, my love.
Yes, it is.
Is there anything, I'm not one for, what do you call those, resolutions?
Resolutions. I'm not either.
So there's no real resolutions, but New Year's are a time for, kind of reflections, restarts, that kind of thing, generically speaking. So, no, I think your chair has lost a few inches.
Oh.
So, your chair, yeah, no, won't be correct.
Okay.
Well, not really, but the chairs are the same height. It feels really weird. No, I can't do that. God, this is just a monstrosity at the beginning of the show here.
This is great.
Yeah. Chaotic, all chaotic. This is going to be a wonderful 2025 if that's the start. So, yeah, New Year's Day is just another day, but it is, in a sense, a chance for some to, rethink, restart their lives kind of thing, right? Kind of get a new focus or a different focus.
Everybody waits till the following Monday.
What I heard a theory is that if this is the 6 weeks to take off at gym, says all the new people who come in and do the New Year's resolutions, right? Going to the gym in the first 6 weeks of the new year, it's terrible, it's crowded. But if you go right around Valentine's Day, you can go back to the gym and it'll be back to the normal people, just the normal people again. That's the theory. So you take your 6 weeks.
Yeah, maybe you get to keep a handful. They add on.
You got a handful add on, handful don't come back from their hiatus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. But I do have it's not going to say a resolution because my chance of success is relatively small, but I'm going to stop saying right so often. I was talking with Anthony the other day, and we noticed that I say...
You do?
Yeah. Go watch our shows, especially like last week's. It's terrible. It's awful.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
I believe you, but I hadn't noticed.
Neither had I until I noticed. And then I really noticed. Oh, God, that's awful. What the heck am I thinking? So we're dealing with that. But that's kind of my thing. There's no real new there. Had a busy week. That's been kind of hectic. So
It has been busy for you.
yeah. I broke stuff and then I fixed it and then I broke it again and then I kind of fixed it, but the second time breaking it wasn't actually my fault, but it was because, well, okay, it's not my fault, but my responsibility. How's that? I mean, there's nobody's fault. Well, we got to sometimes things. There's nobody's fault, right? But it's your
Things
responsibility.
break, yeah.
Things
Yeah.
break. You know, you're fixing one thing, and because something isn't labeled properly, and it's old, it slips out of and now you're holding a cable, and you have no idea where it went. And which is fine if there's 3 cables. It's not so fine if there's 200. I don't know where this went. I know where this side is supposed to go, but I don't know where this side was supposed to go because it just fell out. But now stuff's not working. But anyway, bypassed around it, got stuff working well enough for someone who knows what he's doing to go in there and go, hey, you clean stuff up in here. And so that was nice. Because you pulled 30 pounds of copper out of which he's exaggerating. It wasn't 30 pounds of copper. It was 5 or 6. It's a lot of copper wire. It's a lot of 5 or 6 pounds of wiring is a lot of wiring.
Yeah, it really is.
Wire's not that heavy. So anyhow, it's just been a busy week here at the job, at the day job. But we want to know if you want to send us your love letters, suggestions, comments, questions, philosophical musings, whatever it is, you can do it to love@latenightLove.us. And yeah, I think there was something else, but I've forgotten. So we're going ahead. We ready to move on tonight, or do you
Sure,
got
right.
some? Unless you've got something to chat about or something.
Well, I remember I had last week, I talked about going back to my sit-ups, working on my abs. Yeah, that's out the window already.
You didn't even make it the new year.
I didn't.
To the new year.
I did like one day.
You know, they have chair yoga now.
I have a video I've been doing for quite some time now. And Kitty is attuned to when the yoga video comes on, he comes running because he knows we're going to play. And I'm down on the floor. And yeah.
Yeah. And there's apparently this chair exercise for old men out there where you do all your exercises on a chair.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm going to do exercises, regardless of whether it's on a chair or not. I'm just saying, they have exercises.
You wouldn't follow a video?
No, I wouldn't. If I'm not going to do it on my own, I'm not going to do it because I'm playing a video. That's just not how these things work. How long have you known me? Does this surprise you at any? All right, we have some life questions tonight. I did a bit of my own research, added a few questions, and so we're gonna go ahead and start. This first it starts pretty heavy, so we'll give you a bit of warning on that one, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm 15. Is it okay to let my 12-year-old sister sleep in my bed? Our dad died 3 days ago, and my mom doesn't help much. Is it weird to let her?
Okay, I'm just going to answer this directly. 1, no. It is not weird. Your sister needs kindness and comfort, and you're her older sibling. Genders. I'm assuming it wasn't clear. It was anonymous. It wasn't clear if it was a 15-year-old boy, 15-year-old girl. But I'm assuming it's a 15-year-old boy. My guess is a 15-year-old girl's not going to have any issues with her 12-year-old sister sleeping with her. And he's worried about what the outside world will think. They're not going to think nothing. You're taking care of your sister. Your mother is going through a lot of difficulties right now. And so, if you are able to pick up, take care of your sister while your mother picks herself back up, then you do so. There's nothing weird or strange about it. The world will not think anything of you except that you're doing your job as an older brother. That's it. So, our hearts break for you. And, you can be there for your mother in many ways. It'll come back to you later on. So you will need a time for you to grieve. Just not now. This is the role of a young man. You don't get to grieve at the immediate time. You have to do it later because there's people who need you. I wish him luck. Okay, what's next?
Why do people buy brand new cars when it loses so much value in the first year? Are the benefits worth it?
Well, nobody buys a car to worry about the sale price later. No, a car is the investment in a car is in its use, not in its theoretical resale value 5 years later. What do you care how much it's worth in 6 months later? You're not gonna sell it. At most, you're gonna sell it. What, at the earliest? It'll be 2 years when you turn it in on your lease or something like that, and then you just want the new car. Yes, it's worth it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Now, some people don't believe in that and say, no, I'll wait. I'll let someone else take that 2-3 years of depreciation, and I'll buy it after they've put 30, 40, 50,000 miles on it, knowing a modern car is going to go 200,000 miles.
Some people think that it works out the kinks.
Well, you can find out the lemons. You're not going to get the lemon that well.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a car, you might get the lemon. It kind of depends. There's no...
Oh.
Nah, there's no way you could. That's why they sold the car, because it was a lemon. But if you get a lease return type of thing, then but it doesn't mean you had someone who took care of their car. The dealer can clean it up, make it look nice. Doesn't mean it was taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all a roll of the dice. And the theory is the roll of the dice is. The newer the car is, the less chance of coming up craps. Right? There it is.
You think so?
That's the theory. Well, let me put it this way. In the last couple months, I spent $600. It was about $2,000 in car maintenance. Car's 10 years old, completely paid for. Now, I probably won't need to do any other maintenance other than change the oil for another 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. But it is 9 years old. It does have the chassis has 160,000, 80,000 miles on it. The motor has 140. So now there's nothing wrong with it except, it can randomly start leaking oil. Well, not now because I fixed that. But the older your car gets, things like randomly leaking oil, the shocks need to get done, all the various these things. And so instead of a car payment, you're making maintenance payments.
Okay.
But you're thinking $100 a month instead of $400 a month on the car payment. Yeah. And that depends. If you've got an older classic car, maybe it's a little more. And with new modern electric cars, a lot of that stuff is out the window because these modern electric cars, they don't wear out the same way, but they're also insanely more expensive to fix, even when you have a small problem. A problem that with my car, it's fine, it'll still work just fine. Will disable a modern car.
The electric cars, really?
Yeah. The smallest problem. Your backup camera, having a short in your backup camera on a modern car, can make your car not move. Well, you can get it into a limp mode if you know how, and you can drive about 15 miles an hour to get you out. But yeah, because it shorts out the whole system and it gets locked into park, and it gets in. I don't know what I'm doing, simply because your backup camera's not working. You go unplug your backup camera, boom, the car comes back on again. Of course, unplugging your backup camera means you have to take the whole freaking rear end of your car apart to get to it. It's madness. This whole thing is madness. But it is what it is. So it's a choice, just like anything else. Some people, but don't stop thinking of it. Well, the minute you drive off the car, it loses a quarter of its value. Yes, but no one's going to sell it the minute they drive off of the lot. No one's going to buy it from that person the minute they drive off the lot, because why would you pay the same price where you can go on the lot and buy it for and get all the services from the dealer? Why would you do that? The reason it's worth less is because if it was worth any more, they're just going to go and buy it from the dealer. Then that's the point. So, yeah. Okay, what's next?
Oh, I'm a landlord with a tenant who's a single mother with 2 children. She's often late with rent, but always lets me know ahead. At what point should I stop being nice and put my business first? How is this harming you?
Well,
in
it depends.
any way?
It might be. He may be running on a float, and so that's the question. Is it actually harming you? Maybe adjusting the due date might be in order. Maybe her pay periods are land strangely.
Or maybe she's got an ex who drags his feet on the child support.
It may not even be dragging his feet. The child support's due by the second. The rent's due by the first, and she's on a every 2-week payment schedule. So every 3 months, it lands on a weird time. Now again, if this is actually causing you anything more than a mild inconvenience, then okay, you have a legitimate complaint. But if the only thing this is just because it's annoying, then if it's costing you actual money, then I suppose you can raise the rent to cover that. And if you're a mom and pop person who owns 2 houses, and you might be, needing that money to pay your own mortgage on the house. Now, you shouldn't run your business that way, but it happens. So, we all think of it like he's got 10, 20 houses, a couple apartment buildings, and he's got plenty of cash. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're mom and pop, and they're just trying to get this next 2 years done so they can sell and move. Who knows? So if they're a good tenant, finding a good tenant is difficult. Even if even if they pay a week late, the next person might pay on time, but they could be an actually awful person to deal with. So, grass is always greener. If it's not actually costing you anything, then you continue the relationship as it is. If you're just mildly annoyed, then you park your annoyance and you continue the relationship. Maybe
it means the world to her. It really does.
Maybe adjust the due date a little bit, if nothing in your own mind. Maybe just adjust it in your mind. Maybe the rent's due by the second or the third. So adjust it in your mind. All right, she normally pays me by the 10th, so I'm going to think of it more like the 10th in my mind and in my records and in my accounting. So she still thinks it's the 7th. So you don't just move the thing a week. But you, in your mind, so you don't get annoyed, have shifted it to the 10th, and everybody's happy.
There you go.
So if you can, again,
be nice.
As nice as you possibly can. Okay, what's next?
Why is PC gaming still a thing?
Okay, there's a little background on this one. This is from a psychologist type person. I don't think they're practicing. Otherwise, they would have the answer because people would tell them. So I think there's someone who's teaching.
Okay.
Just so we're clear. And yeah, people like to go home and do this thing called relax. And lots of people have different ways of relaxing. Then, in modern eras, right, and gaming is how you would go home and relax. You go, in the old days, you'd go home and you play cards or backgammon or whatever with your family.
Some used to just sit and watch the tube.
Some would sit and watch the tube. Others would have bowling nights and all these things. Ain't nothing new under the sun. The tools are different.
Yeah.
When the guys and their friends get together to go have a gaming night, it's no different when they used to go off and play softball or baseball or D&D night or whatever the thing of the day happens to be, whatever the tools of the day happens to be. We used to watch the baseball thing. It used to be go off and play baseball. And why are those men out there in their 30s off still playing baseball? Because it's fun. And they work hard every day. And they want to go relax. And for them, it's relaxing. It's getting the stress of the day. Yeah, they've worked hard. A lot of them were iron workers or mill workers. They worked hard physical jobs. And you go out and play baseball. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but that's relaxing. It's a different type of labor. So that's why it's no different. It's just the tools are different. And here's the thing: don't judge people for their relaxations or the way they interact with others socially, because you don't want people judging you. You sit around sipping your tea,
And
talking about highfalutin stuff that's absolutely meaningless in the real world. You're sitting there you're talking highfalutin philosophy.
Oh man.
Oh well, if I love doing that. I love thinking about, okay, what if if you were writing a light particle of light, what happens? Right? It's meaningless in practicalities of the world, but it's a way for me to relax. And if I sat down and talked with other people around that, other people who use gaming as a thing to relax, could very well point at me, what a bunch of freaking nerds. And they would be right. And now you got a bunch of nerds singing, a lot of people going, what a bunch of nerds. Would you all just stop it? Just enjoy your thing and let nerds be nerds. That's good.
Well, you know what I say. Just do whatever makes your little heart happy.
Yeah, well,
because life is just too short.
Life is short.
Yeah.
There was a question, if we wanted to kind of, before we go into, as we're still in the life questions, it reminds me, I just had it on the tip of my head. The question was, it's about life. Oh, what have you learned? If you could go back, what you wish you knew 30 years ago, 35 years ago, 22, and you just about entering the army. Me, the age where you're choosing to go into the army, the age where I'm choosing to decide to try to be a half decent father, and journey that was.
I went into the army at 17.
Yeah, that's the age we're talking about. So if you could go back and tell 17-year-old you, 17, 18, 20-year-old you, pick an age.
20, I was a mom.
So
mine would be, it took me so long to learn this. Don't take yourself so seriously. And just to keep my head right, I try to be silly as much as possible.
Well, for me, mine is very specific. Mine, I would grab my own myself by the head and say, listen, dude, you have this thing called an anxiety disorder. You're misinterpreting the world. Good luck. Because you can't give, at that point, all you can do and let them go on their own journey. The journey would have ended up being different, but it's all I could. You can't give any specific advice how to deal with it, because the whole perception of the world, I learned far too late to understand how that would have. So I couldn't give him any specific advice other than, yeah, dude, all that stuff you can't understand, that's why. Yeah, it's just it. Very quite simple message. That's why. Would have made life a lot easier. Maybe. Theoretically.
If you would have known why.
Yeah. I thought everybody was the same way, and they just dealt with it better.
Well,
and
I can kind of sort of relate with my drinking.
Yeah. So.
Why am I different from everybody else? Why do I not seem to be able to get through life without it being an uphill battle every freaking day?
Why do I panic ordering a hamburger? No one else panics ordering a hamburger. Why am I panicking ordering a hamburger? Yeah. Why? There's no reason. Oh, well, thanks. But it had been helpful. It was very helpful to know that there is no reason for it. It just is. Oh, I can actually deal with that. There's something to work with there. There's no reason. I don't have to search for a reason. It just is. Okay, I can work with that. But there's a reason. That means there's something to be solved. No, there's nothing to be solved. It just is. And so maybe that's the lesson. Sometimes things just are. You just have to deal with it. Yeah. And if I were to give a lesson to all those young people out there, the way you are does not make you a victim. No. You can have an anxiety disorder. You can have, all kinds of issues. You're not a victim. It's just something to be dealt with. Okay, and speaking of things to deal with, that's an interesting segue. We're going to go on to relationships. What do we got?
Okay, here's a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What are some things a wife can say to her husband to make him feel appreciated and happy?
Okay, this is kind of very generic advice because this is very specific question. How do you make your specific partner feel appreciated and happy? Is a very specific question. How do you make men? It's just like saying, how do you make women happy? Yeah. I can make you happy. I can't make women happy. There's no help. There's no hope. But one, you can't. Generically speaking, it's nothing you can say. It's what you do. Men believe what they see, not what they hear. Which is why we actually miscommunicate, men and women, generically speaking. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We communicate by action. We show our love by action. You want the words, and so therefore you give the words, and so therefore we, as sexes, just don't talk to each other. We're literally speaking different languages.
Do you know how long it took me to learn to watch what a man does for you? I did. I kept waiting for the pretty words, and every once in a while you become. It's just straight to my soul. I don't know where you come up with them, but they're out of the blue. You say something romantic, and it always catches me off guard. And I and I stand there dumbfounded. I feel bad I can't reciprocate.
We don't need it. You make me bacon every day. That's as much.
Which I'm trying to use. My love language is food.
Well, and men notice and appreciate the efforts. Mm-hmm. That's what we see. That's what we appreciate. We don't even really care all that much if we want it. Well.
When's the last time you did a load of laundry and folded it and put it away?
When's the last time you haven't gotten? No, it's been a while. Yeah, I haven't run out of shirts yet. So, when I do I guess it's pants or underwear. When I have to do the laundry is when I run out of pants or underwear. One of the two is run out of fruit. I got too many shirts. I'm never
usually when I'm in Oregon for a week. Right?
Probably. Well, no, I can probably go just about a week.
You're killing me.
And it's if I run out of underwear or something, I'll throw. No, you're right. It's when you're gone for about the week in Oregon because I got to wash the underwear, so I just throw everything and do a load of laundry. Yeah, that's what happens. I do laundry when I need to. I'm a man. I don't do it by schedule. What do you want from me? But we discussed this one. If you don't feel like doing laundry, you just don't do it, and you're not obligated in any shape, manner, or form.
No.
Yeah.
But it's off topic. But to be serious, but actually, I mean, you're out there working. I feel I need to be productive as well. I'm not sitting around eating bonbons and watching soap operas.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go on. What's next?
Okay, my boyfriend was playing with his niece's hair. How can I tell him not to do that again?
What?
Her boyfriend was 41,
Uh-huh.
and his niece was like 15.
Well, not all hair playing is weird. Really, I don't know. Just tell him not to do it again, I guess. And if you think it's that weird, then maybe you shouldn't be. I don't know. This is a weird question.
I would ask him. I would open up a discussion, rather than tell him not to do that.
Well, because one, it's his niece, not yours, not hers.
Yeah.
You'd have no idea what the relationship
You
has
really
been.
don't. You really don't.
And we have no idea what playing with her hair meant. Is he messing with her hair? Doing the
Tussle.
yeah. And she gets annoyed because these are 50, but you've been doing it since he's 2. He's not going to stop now. Right? There it goes again. And so that we don't know. So there's too much we don't know in this question. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
It may be her projecting rather than anything actually being weird. You know how the world is today.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid a man be physically affectionate with a relative. Just saying. And, and at the same time, you don't want to
I
be.
believe if the niece wanted him to stop, she would have said stop.
Yeah. Well, and it depends. Maybe she did. But maybe it was a hair tussle playing instead of a twirling of the hair.
Right.
Type of thing. Or maybe he's goofing with her hair in a family picture. It's Christmas time type of thing. And he's sitting there playing with her hair during the family picture. That kind of thing. So we don't know. So again, it's what we don't know is what we don't know. Okay, let's go on.
Can I skip this next
Yeah,
one?
why? That's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. My husband admitted that his younger brother yelled at him for how he treats me. She doesn't know how to respond because it's true, he's not that great a husband. He could do a lot better. And she's been trying to get him to understand her needs for a while now. So it's not like she can say, oh, he shouldn't have done that. I mean,
well, no. Well, the question becomes, is he making efforts to be a better person or not? If he's not, then even his younger brother knows it's time for you to move on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that one means. Younger brothers, brothers can, just like sisters, can say things to each other that others can't. So in a moment of realism, his brother told him some truth. Now, don't let him use that as just a way to kick another can down the road to make you think that he's going to try to become a. Now, people can try to become a better person, fail and fail and fail and try and fail and try and fail, and eventually they'll succeed. But you're not obligated to stay through that process. Sometimes they need to fail hard before they can succeed. I don't know where what part of that process this relationship and evolution is, but she's a 23-year-old woman.
They're pretty young.
Yeah, he's 25, so they're right in that maturing area.
Yeah, are you going to be down for the ride or not? Oh, man.
Yeah, well,
but
the 20s ride is a ride anyway, regardless. Even at its best.
so emotional.
So, yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So that our advice is, yes, even his brother knows you are not being treated properly, and so you should take that as a bit of information onto what to decide on how to decide your future. Yeah. Does he make honest efforts and fail, or is he just saying he's making efforts and failing because, well, you can't fail if you don't try. So that one benefit of not trying. You don't fail. Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Okay. My partner used to be severely punished until he was 20. It leads to a lot of weird behaviors. And I wonder if there's a way to help him.
The only way to help him is he needs someone to help him work through it. Now, it's not a good position to be in, to be his therapist and his partner at the same time.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult lane to walk. And he may not need a therapist, a counselor type person, a life coach may be able to get his mind thing. So maybe if he's reluctant to talk to a therapist, maybe approach him with a life coach, get him started on the process of talking to people who helps him become the person he wants to be. Because here's the danger when men go to talk to a therapist, and it's not an irrational fear. Let me put it that way.
What?
With the way therapy is that in therapy, men are afraid people want to change them rather than let men become the person they want to be.
Oh.
And if you look at data, there's some reasons to it. Psychology and therapists, it's a vastly female-dominated area. Mm-hmm. And men have come through another vastly female-dominated area, the education, where they have been for 20 years, 30, 40 years now. You know, there was a time when education was highly focused towards men. And then we highly focused education towards women. And we forgot to highly focus education towards the individual. And the consequences is men don't trust feminized vocations.
Ah. They don't trust them.
Yeah. That's why they don't trust nurses. They like nurses. They just don't trust them. Even though the nurse is actually probably the best person to get your information from, because she sees everything and everything all day, every day.
Yeah, she does.
Instead of doctors. But we'll trust doctors because doctors are male-dominated. That's why men won't trust them. But they've been trained that way. It's because of the way our education system is, and that carries on. But to answer this particular question, we got off on a big tangent on that one. But to offer this question, she can't help him, but she can support him while he helps himself. And he has to want to change his weird behaviors. And we all have weird behaviors. So.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you'll come up with one that I hadn't seen in a while, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot about that one. And I'm like, okay, Christina, you got your list of your own.
Everybody has their list, right? That's the thing. And now, if they're interfering with his life, if they're making it hard for him to have a comfortable life, maybe he's a bit retentive on the way he puts the dishes away. Okay, then he's been retentive on the way he just puts the dishes away. As long as it doesn't impact you, fine. But if he overreacts to, certain situations and it impacts his life negatively because he can't cope or he reacts in a way that is unproductive as an adult. And then those are things he probably wants to work on. He just doesn't know how. and he feels afraid of being rejected if he addresses them to you. So the way to help him is to make sure that he's not being rejected, he's being cared for. And you know how to do that. You're a partner, you know how to do that. If not, you're going to learn. So have fun. Or, good luck. That's all that, have some fun with it. The best suggestion with any of these things is try to, when you're dealing with something difficult, try to find the fun in dealing with it. There's got to be a little fun in there somewhere. Find it. Or you may have to convince yourself a little bit. Find it. Okay, what's next?
My ex-fiance and father of my child is blackmailing me with intimate pictures of myself. Okay, now here's the thing. He's not even asking for anything. He's just torturing her. Do you want me to publish these? And sends her one. What about this one?
Well, there's two things about that. In certain states, that is called revenge porn, and it's illegal. You could actually go talk to your local DA about that if you wish. Keep that stuff as evidence to be used in court next time you need your child support or custody issues come up. Or the third way to deal with that, and tell them to go ahead. Nobody cares.
That's the only way to deal with a blackmailer. Tell him to just do it. Do it.
Nobody cares. The world is,
Nobody cares. I'm sorry. You may feel
a little bit embarrassed for a few days, but they get into the vast world of the interwebs and become lost in the best place to hide is an open site.
I'm very sorry, but nobody's really gonna care. Sorry.
Hey,
I know it's embarrassing to you.
Hey, there was a comic though who had a good perspective on that.
What?
Says, that's a male comic, granted, an older male comic at that. And he says, he had a gay guy come up to him once and he says, hey, I've got a great picture of you. I use it all the time. And he says, I was surprisingly okay with it because I had gone my entire life thinking absolutely nobody was enjoying a picture of me. That kind of, and now I know it's a solid one. So if, little ego boost for him there.
When you get older, you take them where you can get them.
Yeah. And I don't want to make light of this issue because it's not. My suggestion would be to check the local laws in your area because that in a lot of places that's revenge porn.
Revenge porn is serious.
Yeah, you can actually go and talk to
this is no joke.
Talk to your local DAs about it, and if nothing else, this is, uses for you to keep that father away from your child in the long term.
Well, he's out of the picture.
Yeah, well, you can make him out of the picture permanently and legally with this kind of behavior. So keep him out of the picture with this kind of behavior. So,
well, just to make her fret and everything. It's just.
Oh, you know what?
What a slime ball.
Yes, because they have nothing else going on in his life, so that's where he's focused on.
He has a child. He can't be focusing on being a good father?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Apparently not. And if they can't, then do you want them around? So, okay.
My boyfriend threatened to hurt himself due to lack of sex, but then said he was joking.
Probably was, but those threats always have a tinge of truth. And what the truth would be that he's missing. It's not just sex that they're missing at that stage. They're missing connection. And you probably realize it. They're 37 and 40. So they're still relatively young. They're missing a connection.
Yeah, they're missing that closeness.
They're missing a connection. And while he's overreacting, there's nothing to react to.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, you want to react enough that you actually deal with the underlying issues, but not enough so much that you're rewarding the behavior. Because it is an issue, and it's not sex, it's connection. And because sex follows connection, you're physically healthy, right? Young and physically healthy. It does, those things don't lead. It's one leads and follows. It's not the other. Sex doesn't lead to connection. Sex. Yeah. Unless you're 18, then it's just hormones. But now, when you're older, there's different. Yeah. Well, anyway, in a relationship, that's what that one means. So there's no good answer to that one. But you do want to respect the actual issue, but you don't want to, honor the overreaction.
So, can she address both?
Yeah, you're going to have to, but how do you do that is an open question, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you could do it directly, but she's going to have to do her own soul searching and figure out, okay, why is she not feeling, what's wrong in the relationship, so you can actually go into this feeling with not necessarily a solution, but with some kind of the general idea on, okay, at least what's wrong. Okay, I get it. We're not feeling connected right now. We're going to put the sex issue off to the side for a second because there's a deeper issue than that. And if there's not a deeper issue than that, then maybe there's a medical issue. Maybe she's 40. Maybe she's, hormones changing. So who knows? There might be a medical, 40s.
40. She still should be.
Well, she's not in the menopause change, but there is a hormone change.
Yeah, that's true.
Because right about in the 40s is when your fertility drops off the cliff. It's not zero, but it drops off a cliff. So there is some of that. And it could be routine and rut and stress and all the various routine things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a deep relationship issue, but there is some kind of issue to be dealt with. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but that's a bit of an extreme reaction. And so you do want to deal with that. Okay, why did you go there? Why can't you?
Definitely.
Unless he's been bringing this up for 6 months and now he's just a moment of frustration. And in moments of frustration, we all say things. We 2 seconds later go, God, dumb. Who hasn't? And raise their hand. Yeah. That's not very many hands up on that one. Okay, what's next?
My girlfriend is struggling with quitting nicotine, and I don't know what to do.
There's not your journey. Your thing is support. That's it.
You give her a ride to the store to buy the nicotine gum.
Or your logistics.
Yeah.
Your logistics support.
That's what you do.
She's the grunt in the infantry. There's nothing you can
You buy her lollipops, take her to the store and
whatever.
Give her candy money and tell her to run riot.
When she tells you it's day 4, you give her the best even if you give her the best congratulations you can muster at that moment.
Well, I was, 2 months, and you took me out for ice cream.
Yeah, so your support and encouragement and rewards. When she hits a goal that she's proud of, you reward her for it. Take her to ice cream. You're proud of your goal. I took you to ice cream. I I just said, she's proud of this goal. I didn't have to care what the goal was. I just had to know that she was proud of it. Off we go. We're going to go do some, we were driving by the trip home takes us right by the ice cream shop. We're going to stop for some ice cream. That's what we did. Didn't even have to go out of our way. It was just a nice, small little thing to show that I acknowledged that I noticed that she had hit her goal.
And I remember it 7 months later.
So these are why relationships can work. Okay. What next? Wow, we're going slow tonight.
We have parenting.
Yeah. We should have parenting and work questions. Let's blow through some of these. Let's see if we can get through some of these.
All right.
All right. Let's see if I can stop talking tonight. All right. So what's next?
Does anyone find themselves with more health anxiety since having children? I would pay. Now, I didn't think more about it when I had children, but now as a grandmother, I certainly do. I want to be there for my grandchildren.
I think it's less to do with children and more to do with age and maturity. As you get older, you think more of health issues than when you're younger. When you're children, you think more of, you have more consequences if you break your leg, that how the children's going to take care of themselves. So you have more. It's just age and maturity and responsibility. I think it's the children. It's children itself. Just children's one of those things. As you become older and more responsible, you start worrying about things like health, because the lack of health has higher consequences than when you're 18, 19 years old. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Parents, are you also responsible for your spouse's belongings? Is this actually a thing? Okay, his wife didn't bring a hat, and it was his fault because she was cold.
Yeah.
Because he didn't bring a hat for her.
Yeah. Just accept it being your fault and move on. Who cares? It's like, yeah, it's all your fault.
Why do
Sure.
I have a feeling you have been in this situation before?
Just who cares? It's one of those, yeah, okay, it's my fault. Be mad at me because you didn't bring a hat. Whatever. It's there's, pick your battles. It's not a battle to pick. Just doesn't want to admit she was wrong, so it's going to be your fault. Do you really want to go? Is that the hills you want to die on? She has other lovely qualities, I'm quite sure. So you ignore those. We talked about little quirks and things.
Well, apparently
earlier.
she's a wonderful mother.
Well, earlier on the time we talked about this one. What was it? We were discussing. What was it? The. You know what I mean? The other one we were discussing, where the lady wanted to help her husband get over his world quirks from the over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Weird behaviors.
Yeah. Wanted to help us. It's the same thing. It's the same weird behaviors.
Oh.
One of those things. Do you accept it? Because out of 1,000 things, there's 6 problems. Are you really going to worry about the 6 problems? Well, if one of those problems is big, sure. But if one of those problems you get blamed for not bringing a hat, and there's no real consequences for being blamed other than she gets to feel better about herself, I'll take the blame. What are the consequences? What, am I getting a fine? Is she not going to talk to me on the ride home? What, am I just going to have to listen to her whine about being cold? What are the consequences here? There's no real I'm not going to jail. I'm sleeping on the couch. And if I'm sleeping on the couch, then it's not the hat. It's the fact that you think you can punish me by sleeping on the couch is the real issue, right? There's bigger issues at that point.
Punishing. Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. Where were we?
9-year-old refuses to wear underwear.
Boys or girls?
Boy.
So what? Boys don't have the same issue that girls can do. So just wants to go commando, let them go commando. Saying there's no danger.
Not really.
No, he'll accidentally zip himself once and he'll start wearing underwear. That's what'll happen. It's not such a big deal. Nature will
Ooh.
take its course.
Ooh.
Yeah. Will happen. So be prepared for that one. But so he let him try. Lots of people go commando all day, every day. 10% of those people out there, well, 10% people out there are walking around without any underwears on.
I don't really think about it.
No, because it's none of our business. Because we don't have to think about it.
Does it matter?
Only to the person in the ER. That's and guess what? The person in the ER don't care. They've got bigger issues. They got issues with the gaping hole in your chest or the fence post sticking out your arm or whatever else. They don't care about your underwear or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got bigger issues. They're dealing with the road rash. Whatever happened, yeah. It's one less piece of article of clothing to have to cut off for them. I don't know. To them, it's just a thing. So, okay.
How do I talk to my 9-year-old about addiction and her dad?
9-year-old is tough because if you're a couple years older, it's well, I'm not gonna say an easier discussion, but it's a more blunt discussion than a 9-year-old.
Yeah, I think it's very simply, that her father has a disease, and he's getting help, and he's working on making himself better.
Well, he may not be getting help.
Actually, he was.
Okay.
He was a drinker, and he was going to meetings and doing a sponsor and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
He was really trying.
At 9, that's the route I take. At 12, I'm a little more blunt.
Mm.
I don't discuss it as the disease that softly in you're getting treatment. Because at 12 you deal with it full on. That's an alcoholic, and he's working on himself. He's getting, but at 9, you want to be a little softer. They're right in that.
Mm-hmm.
But at 12, they may have alcoholic tendencies. They need to know, and they need to understand it brutally. They're within a hair's step away of entering that time frame. 2-3 years goes quick. So, but at 9, I completely agree. Your path, the disease, the medical treatment, they're working on getting it better.
Yes.
A little bit older, I would deal with it a little more bluntly. You deal with it as your dad's an alcoholic, and you discuss that this can be hereditary, so they understand that they can be prepared for it as they grow older. And so it depends where you're at. Okay, what's next?
My husband and I feel like we're being abused by a 3-year-old. Okay, this 3-year-old is kicking in the face. I mean, black eye, swollen lip.
Okay.
Just pow.
And my question is how? How does a 3-year-old
just when you bend down or when they're changing his clothes, shoes?
I have a question on their parenting techniques. Some children need more aggressive parenting than others. And this is one of those things that you have to end. Now, whatever parenting method you're using now, you're going to have to change to something completely different. Because I don't know what they're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, it's completely wrong. So if you're gentle parenting, you're going to have to become more aggressive parenting. If you're an aggressive parenting, you're going to have to try gentle parenting. Just going to have to completely flip the script because whatever you're doing is completely wrong for this child. And it's obvious.
Yeah, kind of is.
It kind of is. The child is out of control, which means that however you are trying to parent them isn't working. Or you end up with one of those psychopath children, the literal demon children who come around to the 1 in a 10 million, whatever it is. Not impossible. Demon children do exist. Thankfully, it's like 1 in 10 million or something like that. There's not a lot of them, but those children do cause problems. And if you have one of those, you need specialized help. But first things first, whatever parenting technique they are using, change it completely. Your instincts are completely wrong for this particular child, and you need to do something completely different. So if you're a gentle parenting person, you're gonna have to become an aggressive parenting. Strict discipline. And if you're a strict discipline parent, you're gonna have to loosen the reins because it's clearly not working. But whatever you're doing isn't working, so flip it. Okay, what's next?
What punishment should I give a 14-year-old who is ungrateful and punched a 55-inch TV that I bought? I'm the step parent. He currently has his phone taken away and gaming system, but now watches TV in the living room. Should I take the plug out of the living room so he can't watch TV, or is that too much? Okay, now the thing is, the gaming system was a Christmas present. And he was playing, and he got too far into it, and he lost his cookies during the game, and he punched the TV.
So the current punishment is appropriate.
Okay.
Also, you're the step parent, so depending upon your rules of parenting agreements, I don't know where those fall, but it may not be your role to punish much more than this.
Yeah.
At least to do it on your own. Now maybe it's phrased as I, and hey, what should I go to my partner, and how should we discuss? And maybe the I is more of a we than an I, so we can make some assumptions on that. But the punishment seems generically appropriate, though. 55-inch TVs, they can be either $300-$400 to $6,000 or $7,000. Depending upon the type of TV.
Ooh.
And at 14-year-olds, you're going to have to work that off. Or at least part of it. Yeah, he's going to have to work that off.
Don't let him play games on your fancy TV anymore.
Well, usually they learn the lesson that first time. And at 14, kids, they get... That's why I used to throw pennies at children before they got too carried away. Can't hurt them with a penny, but you can get their attention. And I never actually hit them. Pennies are almost hard to hit with exactly what you're throwing at it. If you were actually trying to hit somebody, you would never hit them with a penny. The only way to hit somebody with a penny is to not try to hit anything, and then it will hit something. That's it. If you try to hit something with it, it's not going to hit you. It's going to land somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, you're pretty right. I would figure out a way for him to start working off that TV, or at least a chunk of it. And if he works off a huge chunk of it, you can give the rest of it as a birthday gift or something, as to, ease the pain a little bit. But he's going to have to at least work a chunk of that off. Because it's his responsibility. Yeah. Not even punishment, that's responsibility. Mm-hmm. That's not punishment, that's responsibility. The other stuff is punishment. The phone and the gaming system, that's punishment. The TV thing is responsibility. They can pay for part of that. Okay.
How do you handle toddler tantrums in public?
Oh, well, as a man, it's a little easier because I can always just pick up the toddler under the hand and walk. You know, they can be screaming and kicking and whatever. You just hold them in your arm. So it's a little easier for us. In the grocery store, the famous thing is to just walk around the corner.
Step over them.
Yeah, just walk over them. Because what they're wanting is the reaction. If you give them the reaction they don't want, they change behavior.
No, I had to make a decision. At what point am I going to pick them up, take my cart to the front, and say, "Sorry, I gotta go," and and hoist the toddler over your shoulder, and you go out, and they're screaming and kicking, and
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. You see the fathers with kid under their arm, right, walking out the store. It happens. If you hang out at a grocery store, you'll see it all the time. All right, come on, we're going to the car. My mom finishes shopping. It is what it is. How do you handle it? You just deal with it. And all the people judging you, not as many are judging you as you
No.
because everybody who's had a toddler has gone through it, and everybody who doesn't have a toddler is going, why do I want children again? So so you're okay. It's all right. It just is. Children have meltdowns. The preventative maintenance on that is the best thing. Don't try not to take them to the store when they're tired.
And girls get over around 21, 22.
They do.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Stop it.
Okay. All right. We got some more questions. Let's see if we can blast through this stuff. Okay.
My two best employees just quit because I hired 2 part-timers to give them 2 days off per week. I thought I was being nice to them, and it backfired. How do I go about getting them back?
Okay. First, you have to understand the real mistake was the lack of communication. You should have gone to them and said, hey, I'm thinking about hiring a couple part-timers to ease your guys' workload so you guys can have a couple days off a week. See, what they're thinking is you're being cheap. You're hiring 2 part-timers instead of them. They may want the money.
They want the money. I can tell. Yeah.
But you could have, and if you could have approached, if it was, hey, look, it's costing me too much to pay you guys all this overtime, so I'm hiring a couple part-timers. 2 part-timers cost as much as, one of you guys working all this overtime. So, but it was a lack of communication. That's the problem. Now, you've probably already tried to explain yourself, and they don't want to listen. So all you can do is no employee is irreplaceable. You learn your lessons. You acknowledge that you've got to communicate better in the future, and you move on. Now you have 2 new employees, and you go off and hire yourself a couple more so you can have a more manageable workload from the start. So you don't have a culture of where you're overworking employees so that they get offended when you say, hey, I'm going to treat you like a normal human being now. And they get offended because they think you're taking something away from them, when really you're trying to give them. Trying to give them some time.
Provide some work-life balance.
Yeah. So create because you're likely not going to get them back. They probably had other things they could do, right? No one leaves a job just because of that. So that's my suggestion. Change your work culture now while you have the opportunity so that you don't abuse your new employees so they're used to a normal workload. And so when you hire 2 people to help them, they're saying, hey, thanks for the help, rather than, hey, why are you trying to take responsibility away from me?
Yeah.
You've created, there's some kind of toxic nature in that work environment that you need to deal with, and you have the opportunity. Okay.
How to handle clients who wear too much perfume?
This is a difficult one. It depends on your relationship with your client. Some clients you can simply tell, hey, I have issues with, I'm sensitive to smells and scents and these things. Can you do me a favor and not put it on before you come in, right before you come in? You can deal with that. You can make it a policy. There's technically a policy down at the TV station to not wear heavy colognes and perfume.
Ooh.
Because people can be sensitive.
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
So there's a policy for that. And, you work in a TV station or a radio station, you're working close quarters with people sometimes. You got 4 or 5 people in a little room. And things like BO or heavy perfume can be an issue.
Hadn't thought about that.
So, yeah, people think, well, perfume, it smells good. It doesn't always smell good to everybody else.
Yeah.
Especially if it's real intense. So yeah, it depends on the client. If it's a difficult client, you may have to put up with it or decide or fire the client. It's perfectly acceptable to fire a client. So, okay.
Does anyone else use their higher paid partner as leverage for work-life balance? Okay, this man, his wife has a much higher paying job, so they decided he's going to work 30 hours a week. And the kids are teenagers, and they need a lot of running around for they have a lot of interests, right? So, but at his work, they keep pressuring him to do more and to do overtime, come on to 40-hour a week.
Here's the thing. You're not using it as leverage. You're setting a boundary that, no, here is what I am willing to work. If it doesn't work for here, I'll go find someplace else and it'll work for them. You're not using it as leverage. You have just made a choice what's best for you and your family schedule. This is a schedule I have to fit work in. I don't have to be working. She makes enough for me to this not be a priority. Right? That's just called freedom, economic freedom. So you are in the position to not have to make decisions based upon economics. You get to make decisions based upon wants, needs, desires. It's a glorious place to be in. But you don't have to look at it as leverage. So you guys can ask me all you want. I'm going to continue saying no because you're not more important than my kids. Or having dinner at home for my wife when she gets home, or whatever, all the things the quality of life things that they have because of the schedule he works.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. She works hard every day. I get to go home, pick the kids up, get home, get dinner gives. And so she comes home, she's got a nice dinner set for her and the kids.
And they had the evening together as a family. Yeah.
Yeah. And both of us aren't stressed because we're dealing with work issues. Only one of us has to be stressed because I'm not taking on any stress. I take on house stress. She takes on work stress. Yes. Yeah. So
that's what works for them.
Yeah. Don't think of it as leverage. Just think of it as are the conditions I'm willing to work under. And if they won't fulfill it, somebody else will. They can hire another person part-time to do the tasks that they want done. So they can hire someone to come in 10 hours a week and hire an intern to come in and do the tasks that they need done. You don't care if they come in to replace your job because you don't care. That's a good place to be. Okay.
How to get over this feeling of not fitting in? Okay, new job. They made her a poster.
Okay.
Welcome. They baked her a cake. Welcome.
Okay.
The ladies are interested in her and ask polite questions about her. They're showing an interest in getting to know her,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Now, to me, that would be all creepy. It's like, would you people leave me alone and let me do some work?
And she's just like, oh, I'm just not fitting in.
Well, she's not fitting in because she's not trying to fit in.
Yeah. Ah.
Now, it's lots of reasons why she's not trying to fit in. You know, maybe she has an anxiety disorder. Maybe she's just an antisocial person. You know, she's the wallflower person. She was much more comfortable going in and working and all this, you know, the love attention, while appreciative. She's not unappreciative of it. It makes her actually feel more uncomfortable because it feels unorganic.
Oh.
You know, she needed more time to settle in. She's kind of feeling overwhelmed, so she's shut off. Would be my
I think she needs
time.
to give herself a little bit of time.
Give herself.
Yeah.
She needs two things. One, give herself a little time, and two, make sure she gives herself the old college try.
Really respond to these women who are being interested in getting, and ask questions, get to know them.
Well, you don't necessarily have to overly respond. Just be open to the potential of a conversation that you're actually interested in and engaging in it. If you're not interested in a conversation, you don't have to fake it.
Well, no.
But be open to a conversation. You know, on occasion, step out of your comfort zone and engage when you otherwise wouldn't.
There you go.
You know, when someone asks you, "You want some coffee?" Sure. Well, I don't like coffee, but I'll go have a water with you. I'll go sip some water and go and have coffee.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, but I'll sip some water with you. Sure. And you go and just be human. Or close yourself off and get to work, and people will eventually leave you alone. And there's always a second way. There's always a second way to deal with it. And the other way to deal with it is to put your head down, just do your work, and not worry about it. You're there to work, not to fit in. And you're finding your cog in the wheel, finding where your cog fits in the bigger wheel what make you feel in place. So there's that. Okay.
Why do I feel anxious about my low stakes job?
Oh, you want to know why you feel? Because anybody can do it, and you're probably getting paid more than you feel it's really worth, but you don't really understand how much it's actually worth. It's a lot of these times the job is simple or it's easy, but you need someone who's highly responsible to be there, to be the one to do it. So I got this that to me appears really low stakes, right? A trained monkey could do it. Yeah, but a trained monkey wouldn't sit there for 8 hours not doing anything for the 5 minutes that he has to do something, because you never know when that 5 minutes is going to be. So you have to sit there and wait for that 5 minutes. You know, it's only going to take 5 minutes of your job. You're there for 8 hours. Your job only takes 5 minutes. You just don't know when during that 8 hours your 5 minutes is going to be. It could happen anytime. So, yeah, anybody can do it. Your job is, and that light pushes that button. But you need someone who's going to sit there and watch that light so he can push that button. His job isn't that low stakes, I'm sure. But what happens if that process doesn't happen? Oh, the lights in half of the country go out. Yeah, well, that's a really important job then. Yeah, all the water in New York City stops working. Well, yeah, they might need you to push that button. You don't need to know anything else. Just push the button when the light goes on. It only happens. You got 5 minutes to do it. It only happens once a shift. But we don't know when. It's a low stakes job. But is it?
Is it?
And the reason you fear it is because you think you can be replaced.
And I like that thing you said about that. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone is responsible
enough to do
to
it.
do it. Show up every day on time. That puts you a cut above like 80%.
On time, not fall asleep, not be sitting there watching porn on his phone, not be doing all the various because you've got too much downtime. All the various things that can happen when human beings have too much downtime in their job. Sometimes you're paid because you're responsible, not because of the tasks you do. Because the tasks themselves may not be difficult, but they're very important. And why it. So, okay.
Boss sent critical email of myself
Uh-huh.
to whole team. Now, I read a portion of what she said that what the circumstances were.
Uh-huh.
And the boss did a commentary about how to give a presentation. And she had just done one.
Okay.
And he made generic statements about it.
And she was taking it personal?
Yes.
So he was trying to tell his team, okay, here in the future, here's how we wanted to approach things. And she's taking it personal. But he didn't. He didn't come to her and say there was a problem. He's just giving generic instructions, and his timing was bad for her personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to do.
No.
Now, there is something you can do. Nothing to do, but there is something you can do. You can find some time with your boss, schedule a meeting or depending upon how the boss is, and say, hey, can you give me some feedback on my presentation? Because I read your email, and I want to make sure that next time I'm in this situation, I give it the way that you were looking for. And that way you go seeking him for the input and the feedback, and be prepared for some criticism. But that's what you're asking for. I'm giving a class next week. First time I'm giving a class. I teach all the time. I'm giving what I do in person, one-on-one, to a group of people next Saturday. So I've got a 3-hour class. At the end of the class, my plan is I'm going to give them a form to fill out, and my thing is I want you to be nitpicky. I want you to be critical in your feedback. I don't want you to tell, hey, it was great. Great. I love great, nice to hear. But what helps me is when you are nitpicky and critical. Now, I may disagree and not take your suggestions, or it may say, oh, that's where I need to work on. And that's how I can get better. And that's how I can help more people in the future. Yeah. I need you. So I need people to be nitpicky so I can get better in the future.
Okay, is this for real? Are you doing that?
Yeah, I got a podcast class.
That's so cool.
Oh, we'll see. Well, I teach people how to make radio shows and podcasts all the time. I just teach it one-on-one. So what I'm doing is turning it into a class and teaching 6, 8 people. However many actually sign up. I think the class is designed for, I think we've got 8 seats. I'm hoping only 6 we fill because it's my first one. Okay. What's next?
Supervisor eats in front of us. Well, we aren't allowed to. The supervisor says you're not allowed to eat at your desk. But then goes ahead and does it. That they do the exact same thing. Eat at their desk.
Okay, you know what you can do. You walk by and say, that's how you get ants. Pointing out that you see the hypocrisy. You're willing to say something, however gentle. That's how you get ants. Hey, Bob, that's how you get ants, man. And you just keep walking. That's my suggestion. Okay.
Interviewer wants a 2-year commitment. How to respond?
What, are they joining the military?
No.
Well, there are some things, like if you're if they're teaching you how to be like a welder, you know, an underseas welder or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll want a commitment because they're putting a lot of resources into you up front to train you. You don't want to spend 6 months training you to be and then have you go off and work for somebody else.
Okay.
So if there's a lot of upfront training costs, then that is not uncommon.
Okay.
So it really depends on the industry.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, you think about being like an underseas welder or something. You need to be trained for that. And who trains you for that? You got the unions who do some training, but the rest is the job. You learn the job has to train you because they're the ones who are responsible for you. So they have to train you. And pilots are the same way. Even if you're a pilot, you still have to go through airlines training. So you sign a contract. And that ties you to not being able to go fly for somebody else for 2 years or something. So even if you leave, you can't go and use your training somewhere else till the end of your contract.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, we're hour and a half in. Do you want to crash through these things?
Well, let's go through quickly.
Yeah, we haven't been so good at that. All right, so let's go. Try it again. Let's go. Okay.
I accidentally finished just from him kissing my neck, and I've never been so embarrassed. Oh, honey, you had a passionate moment that you're always going to remember. Isn't that beautiful?
Consider yourself lucky
Yeah.
because you could always have another one.
You could do that. Could happen again. Isn't that great?
Yeah, 'cause it's not like women are done. You know, it's not like men who are kind of spent once they're who's.
Y'all need a nap.
Yeah, life was so. We're telling you, man, nature is a cruel mistress. Okay, what's next?
I went to an orgy with my husband. Now I'm traumatized. She thought it was just going to be little meek and mild stuff, and they went there, and it was just, wow, everybody just going at it. And then,
Well, it's called an orgy for a reason. Like the Romans, you know? What were you expecting? So she went in there without doing any research. And
yeah, and because he wanted to try it, and finally she's like, yeah, finally, okay, yeah, she worked up an interest, but she just had it in her mind. It was just going to be a little more social,
yeah, well, she was thinking of a nudist beach, and they went to a full-fledged Caligula orgy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And now she wants some brain bleach, and she can't get any. Okay. Well, she now knows there's something. Somewhere between a Caligula orgy and right? That's too far. She's open to kind of the nudist beach,
Yeah.
type thing. She's not, doesn't rule those completely out. Maybe a little light swinging partner type deals that at the old folks home kind of thing. It's a trailer park old folks home. But yeah, So all right. So she's found her limits. She's found her lines. Okay. Yeah, that's just funny on that one. There's no suggestions I can give to that. No, it's just you.
You found your limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're somewhere between the nudist beaches and Caligula orgies. Somewhere in there is your line. So we're good. Okay.
I'm getting in great shape, but it's making me too horny for life. Is this going to level off eventually? He's a gym rat.
He's a gym rat.
Mm-hmm.
Is he taking muscle building?
I don't know.
Testosterone stimulants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's not steroids. There's whole kinds of muscle building, health things that they play with your hormones, and it helps you build muscle.
Ooh.
All kinds of things to help you increase your testosterone levels. Guess what comes along with increased testosterone levels? Increased sex drive. They go hand in hand. So no, it won't level off. Well, I mean, it will eventually level off when your natural testosterone levels, but you can compete that. So, or stop taking your supplements. There's my other example.
There you go.
There's my other one. Stop taking your supplements, or find a different supplement. Because I have a suspicion that that's what we're dealing with. It's supplements is kicking his hormones into overdrive.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Doggy style hurts a lot. Does it get better? No.
Well,
I mean, you can play around with different positions and stuff, but if things get too vigorous, it's gonna be a little brutal.
well, nothing should hurt a lot unless you like it that way.
Mm.
Now, depending upon, doggy style means different things, different people. So, but you could have your internals could be not lined up exactly like normal, so it's actually physically painful. Certain positions can be physically painful for some people that aren't for others, simply because of the way your individuality is designed in there. Some people are more open to certain things than others. Does it get better? Well, you can get better at it, but it really depends. There's no direct answer for that one either.
Not really.
But if something is routinely hurting a lot, then you're doing something wrong.
Something's happening.
You're doing something wrong, or maybe someone is overly large. Who knows?
Okay.
Or the angles are particularly off.
Yeah. That's why I was suggesting different positions.
Your angles can be particularly off.
Yeah.
And again, your particular anatomy, there's the word I was looking for,
Ooh.
might be angled in such a way that is causing discomfort.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it hurts a lot, you're going to have to change things up. So no, it should never hurt a lot. A little pain happens now and again, but it should never hurt a lot. Okay.
When I masturbate, I don't make any noises. So she's afraid that when she starts having sex, she's going to be quiet during sex. She's afraid. Because she's watched porn and she understands that's not desirable.
No, you know what's not desirable? Fake noises. So just be yourself. Don't worry about it. The most attractive thing is when someone who's not thinking too hard. Just let yourself go and will be. If you're thinking about, I got to make noise here, or I can't make noise there, then you're doing it wrong. Stop thinking. Just if you're thinking about these things, guess where your mind isn't? Enjoying the moment. So just enjoy the moment. If you're naturally loud, it will come out. If you're naturally quiet, it will come out. And if you try to do stuff that you are not, that is completely counter to who you are, it's just going to turn awkward. It's going to sound like a poorly dubbed porn movie, and that's worse. Stop it. Your heavy breathing is better than that. Trust us. You don't need sounds if you have nice, heavy, rhythmic breathing. It has its own sexuality to it.
And a well-timed O is,
If it comes naturally,
it
comes.
really does.
If it doesn't, it doesn't.
It really does.
The point is you don't need to force it. Let it, whatever be, will be.
You don't. If you really just let your emotions go, and you're naked, so you kind of lend yourself to being a little more open with someone. You know?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
All right. This is a problem most people have.
Oh yeah, it's so common. Okay.
He's too big, and it's making us both feel bad.
Well, that would,
It would.
because he doesn't get the satisfaction that he theoretically. She's afraid he's not going to feel as satisfied as pleasurable as he would like, and he doesn't want to hurt her.
He's afraid of hurting her. Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah. But here's the thing: go off and explore all the various things you guys can do with each other that don't involve, actual penetration.
There's many
Many.
plethora of things you can do that don't involve penetration.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Explore. Have a good time.
Yeah. Or, maybe you need put markers or stuff so how deep they can go or whatever it is.
Markers?
I don't know. Before you cock ring, instead of covering the whole thing, you put it on there so there's as deep as it gets to go. There's kind of tricks of the trade you can figure out.
Ooh.
So he doesn't accidentally.
Hurt. Yeah. There you go.
You get to be a little inventive. And so instead of feeling sorry for yourselves, use it as an opportunity to widen your adventures, shall we say.
Try different positions too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe Herbie, getting a little, working on some flexibility, do some yoga may help a little.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing on that one. So, no. All right, we're out of time. We are out of here. I don't know what this show was about tonight. So it was off the rails from the start. So anyway, we'll see you next week. For me and Lubby, have a good night, and please
Good
remember to
night.
love everybody.